Morning, everyone. We are FreeSpirit Fabrics here. We are here with our Inspired By today. I'm Sharon Thornton, and I'm also in here with Sarah Asby. If you are tuning in, we're very excited to see you today. We have a very special guest. We have Anna Maria Horner with us today, and we are excited to have her with us. She's going to be talking about the Harmony collection by Carolyn Gavin. And this is a 15, this collection has 15 designs, and it is shipping in September of this year. So we're excited that you're here. Please tell us where you're here from. We love to know where you're tuning in from. If you see designs that you like today, please send us some hearts. We love to see that. When Anna says something that you love, send more hearts. So just send hearts all morning while we're doing this. We would love to send us questions. We definitely want to see your questions. And we'll probably, along the way, if Anna doesn't answer some questions, we may take those questions at the end, but we will definitely get the questions asked and answered of Anna while we have her on. And the last thing I want to let you know is to stay on, because we will have a giveaway at the end. So we want you to be here for that. You have to be live, and you have to answer live for that giveaway. So I am going to switch this over to Anna Maria. So let me see. There she is. Good morning, Anna.
Good morning. Thanks
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, we're psyched.
I'm going to follow the rules and tell you where I'm coming in from. I'm coming in from Franklin, Tennessee.
Oh, good.
And I'll answer everything live, so I can be part of the giveaway too. No.
Oh, okay. Well, you have fabric behind you. You don't need it.
I know. No, that is honestly, after moving into the studio only over the past couple of weeks, the one thing I don't feel I need is fabric. So, but I am so happy to be introducing Harmony. Harmony is the newest collection for Conservatory Craft, and today I want to talk a little bit about the inspiration specifically behind Harmony. I want to talk about wonderfully talented Carolyn Gavin, and also just kind of share some nuts and bolts about what my role is in Conservatory and how these artists work together with me to create these collections. So I am completely aware that a lot of people out there know exactly who Carolyn Gavin is. She has a really massive following of people on social media for her art. Carolyn is South African. She was born in South Africa, and so she was born into like a very kind of exotic surrounding. Her adventures and traveling around the world had her eventually landing in Toronto. So she's a Canadian as well. I love seeing all the little Canadian flags when I post about Carolyn being a new conservatory artist. People are like, yay, Canadian talent. And it's definitely not the first Canadian we've had in conservatory. You know, I think that if you follow her on Instagram, which you totally should, because it's really just such a window into an artist's perspective. She's constantly sharing her painting process. It's not about really presentation of product. It's really about presentation of herself as an artist, which I think, which is what attracted me to her like a really long time ago when I started following Carolyn. And it just so happened that she reached out to me a couple years ago now to see if I would be interested in using her art in the conservatory fold. So I definitely was. It's not hard. If you've been following conservatory and the artists that I've worked with for the past 4 years, 5 years.
I was gonna say 5, I think.
Maybe, yeah. You'll see that there's kind of something, they all have their own beautiful, unique voice and hand, but I mean, I think you can see a thread across the artists of sort of like what interests me and what I'm looking for when I'm looking for collaborating. And first and foremost, I'm looking for someone who is just purely an artist and speaks from their own place. And most times it's someone that has absolutely nothing to do with the quilting world, has nothing to do with sewing. That's where I step in and kind of put together, you know, what I've learned about translating that art and that artistic fine art kind of perspective into fabric, trying to make it meaningful for print work that ends up being quilts or other sewn goods. So that's my job. But looking through Carolyn's work, it was not hard to find art to contribute to collection. It was hard to narrow down what I wanted to use because there's so much. She has a massive library. She travels a lot still. She teaches workshops. She just got back from 7 weeks in Belize. I think that her Canadian winters are probably, if I'm guessing, reading between the lines, her Canadian winters definitely have her, for someone that was born in South Africa, have her wanting to be in tropical locations.
Exactly.
So it was really fun to just sort of watch her painting through those weeks in Belize to see how her environment kind of inspired her art. It's just beautiful to witness. She is also teaching in Portugal in September, I believe. So when we are seeing these fabrics arrive in shops, she'll be in Portugal teaching a workshop. But before I forget to mention it, I will also be doing a live with Carolyn on Friday on my Instagram. So I would love for all of you to join us there and meet her in person. So Harmony, Carolyn describes herself as a flower child of the 60s. And I assume she seems way too young to be a flower child. So I assume that means she was born in that era. But, you know, I can see that in her art. I can see that in her palette. And so if there aren't any questions so far, I'm happy to start looking through the pieces. I've got like all the fabric rolls behind me for the 15-piece collection here. I've got her beautiful quilt, but I thought we would just kind of go piece by piece in the collection and look at the prints.
Anna, there's no questions yet, but
Okay.
a lot of positive affirmation on how everything looks great, everything looks beautiful, et cetera, et cetera.
So I have all the cuts sitting here. So this is called Bundles of Joy, and it's exactly that. This is a very kind of, I'm starting with this because it's a very kind of quintessential bouquet that Carolyn would do. And most of the art you would see Carolyn do lands itself on watercolor paper. So most frequently her art is a lot of colorful florals and other forms, female forms, butterflies, birds on white backgrounds. And so it was kind of really interesting and really fun to decide, like, well, what besides white are we going to be putting in the back of this? Here's another one on sort of a robin's egg blue. And, you know, this one we decided to do the bouquets kind of nestled together, but they're still their own unique little compact element running both directions. So there's no upside down. I know quilters really appreciate that.
Yes, I know. Yeah, those are really beautiful.
I have a tendency to work so directionally, and I think that is a holdover from being a painter, you know, but I have to remind myself to toss things around a bit. This is called Harlequin.
Love that.
These are some of her beautiful butterflies, and hopefully you can see some of the, you know, all that like detailed design work in the background. So this would be one of those prints that I would say, you know, there's a pink one too that I really love. They're also Eastery, come to think of it, aren't they?
Right. Very timely.
Yeah, very timely. This would be one of those prints that I would have to say, you know, I probably had a lot more hand in the organization of this design than I would have on some of the others. A lot of work that Carolyn and I worked with was she already sort of creates art in the perfect repeat for fabric. Like she already sort of does a lot of art and fine art on canvas and on watercolor that is sort of an equal disbursement of forms in space. And so that just lends itself to repeat patterns so well. It's already kind of there and you just have to kind of clean it up and organize it and scale it and reduce the colors in some cases, increase the colors in others. But these butterflies, I just thought the forms, we see a lot of butterflies in fabric design, right?
Right.
There's a lot of butterflies out there. I thought hers were so unique and geometric and interesting and not too kind of floaty and light and silly. Like they had some structure and some interesting lines. And so I took what started as just a toss of packed in butterflies and I decided, okay, this one, we're going to create some structure. We're going to create, so I created this kind of Harlequin pattern. It's almost like an argyle in a way, the way all the different textures come together. I created that sort of structure just, to give the collection a little bit of diversity. So again, that's like my job to do that,
Well, it's beautiful print. Love
Yeah,
the combination. Yeah.
This one, again, to give some balance and kind of distinction in the collection. This is a really pretty linear, almost border style print, and it's called Clever Climbers. It just, her folk style is also, I'm very interested in making folk style print work from my own background of art influence and handcraft influence. And so I really appreciate that about her style. It can be very painterly, but it can also be very kind of flat. I love all the little line drawn works of just that kind of saffron yellow as well. So I created, this is another instance where all of these forms were actually originally in the Blue Magic panel, which I'm going to show you at the end. They're just the same forms that kind of float around in that panel, but I organized them into a stripe. And something that we very often do with the conservatory lines, because they aren't like 30-piece lines, they're like 15 or 18-piece lines. We diversify the scales. So it's the same print, but this one's a little bit bigger, this one's a little bit smaller. So that's just giving you that much more interest when you're making your quilts and deciding what to use where. This one, again, a much more quintessential Carolyn kind of bouquet.
So pretty.
Yeah, this is called Somewhere. Can you guess why?
Over the rainbow.
Nailed it. You win a prize. You get a Fat Quarter collection, Sharon.
That's right, winner.
And I love this like just true sky blue version as well.
Yes, so beautiful. The bouquets, it's very nice.
Yeah, so again, it's one of her bouquets, but we've organized it differently. The contrast is different than the first one I showed you, and it has that other fun little element of the kind of contemporary rainbow floating in there, kind of propping them all up. I realized that I basically dressed in something almost exactly like one of her prints today. Like,
oh, look at that. Did you just realize that now?
yes, I was like looking over this, I'm like, that's weird. But this is called Jungle. And, artists have like things that they're really good at, but Carolyn has several things that she's really good at. She's really good at line work, like really, really good at line work. And, she's really good at being painterly. She's really good at layers and shapes and balance, but like, I think this is a really special, it probably would not command the most attention in this line, but I think it's a really special print in terms of how beautifully balanced all that line work is and how it's interesting, gives you a lot to look at and play with, but it also just works so beautifully. Like there's so many cute little birds and different things happening in there. But it's like what I like to call better than solid,
Right.
It serves that purpose in your quilts. You can kind of, I'm always going the wrong direction. You can see like it really acts as a pretty place for that blue bouquet to sit and kind of set things off. So these are important, workhorses in a collection as far as I'm concerned.
Totally agree.
Thanks, Sharon. And this one is called Dappled. And it's just a very sort of non-traditional checkerboard, but I just love how it feels like she painted a checkerboard and then cut it up and put it back together. So again, very super Eastery. And I call it dappled because it reminded me of the colors, like if they were mosaic tile, like if light was hitting them, kind of how they sparkle a little bit. And I love this colorway. That's another one.
Yeah, that's really beautiful too.
Also matches my sweater today. And the next print was one that started out. I'm going to show you the larger one first. This is probably my favorite Favorite. So this one is a lot more like exactly how it started, just with the colors kind of tweaked a little bit. I think that, again, like obviously most of her art is on a white background, and it was really fun to set this one on like a beautiful navy and choose some glowy lavenders and plums and saffrons and oranges. I just absolutely love this.
Mm-hmm.
This is called Scattered. And then we went a little bit tinier with the second colorway of Scattered. And I think this, Carolyn was saying how much she loves this one. I think this might be her favorite piece.
Yeah.
Again, just like so usable in your quilts, and like little girls' dresses and dinner napkins. And like, this would make such a beautiful Easter table.
I know.
So, the last piece I'm going to show you is the panel that we did. And I never know how it's going to read through photos or on a screen, but it is just a very, very deep navy. It's kind of an inky navy. It might be reading black. But this is a 24-inch panel, and it's got that pretty scallop little dotty design all the way across the bottom that you can use in like a strip piece or for a stem and applique. So the full width of the fabric is going to give you 2 full kind of squarish panels, and the panel repeat is 24 inches. So this is called Blue Magic, and this is sort of like the mothership of all the forms in the collection. And I absolutely adore this. There are so many things in here to cut up and use an applique if you'd like, to stitch on. That's why we plopped it like front and center in the quilt. That I know you've got behind you, but I can kind of pull it up and show you a little bit closer. So did we make a quilt? Obviously, we made a beautiful harmony quilt that's going to be a pattern on your website, right?
Yes. I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking, yep, I need to say that. So this, like Anna's saying, so this is the harmony quilt that's behind Anna's. Well, when we're looking at her, it's on the right side.
I'll stand up and show it to you a little bit.
And the pattern will be on the FreeSpirit website. The collection ships in September, so it'll be on our website early August.
So you're not seeing the whole thing, but basically like it's the same in all corners. So it's got this big, pretty block that sort of acts like a big angled flower there, the way it comes together. We have, just so you can see closer, we have all those little butterflies kind of fussy cut and patchworked in. We've used those beautiful, clever climbers as borders. I created a fun sort of butterfly patchwork. Like, it's not so overtly ridiculous butterfly. It still just looks like patchwork, but it is a butterfly. And like, you know, we use the bouquets in a way that, like for this somewhere bouquet there, you know, we kind of like edged it at the bottom. So we're really taking advantage of that more blank little rainbow drawing space to kind of give a solid, and then just it has this pretty little border of flowers at the bottom. So that's a fun way to use that. And you can see how that pretty scattered print, you know, is nice, deep and glowy, sets against that center of the panel really beautifully. So I'm pretty sure that the quilt, sorry to cut my head off. I'm pretty sure that the quilt is 60 square, maybe. Does that sound right?
Hold on, Anna, I have that here.
Hold, please.
Just take
Okay. But yeah, so
it's a 64.5-inch square.
Okay, so beautiful, like topper on most bed shapes and sizes, and like great for the couch or the porch.
Right, exactly.
But I want to show you something maybe a little less expected that I started working on. So I just happen to have a whole bunch of wool. And someone like me, when I see Carolyn's panel, like all I want to do is stitch it. And so I have this piece in progress. I don't know how well you can see the stitching with the crewel wool on there, but I have this piece in progress where I'm not completely covering I'm not covering like the fabric 100% with wool. I'm kind of like, sorry, I'm really bad at showing things on screens.
No,
Uh,
we can see it. I can see where your needle is right there.
Okay, good. So you can see that I'm kind of like just in some places, just like edging around it and other places filling in.
Mhm.
And got the little butterfly getting kind of woolly. But anyway, it's such a fun project because it's basically like without thought, you can do any kind of stitching that you like. You can cover it very densely. You could just edge it. But my plan for this, do you want to know my plan? I'm gonna
Yes,
tell
I do.
you. My plan for this, I know you didn't ask, but here we are. Well, you can almost see on the back a little bit more like where the stitching is
Oh,
happening.
yeah. Yep.
It's definitely a tactile experience. You kind of need to really like see and feel it in person to experience it. But my plan is to get some stitching on every part of the square panel and then layer that up with some batting and do some hand quilting around all those shapes. So it's really nice and dimensional.
Right.
Make it a tote. It's going to be my new tote.
Oh,
So I'm super excited about
yeah,
that.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
Well, Anna, I was even thinking as you were showing that, I mean, if somebody was so inclined, they could actually do all that work and then place it in the center of the quilt,
They
right?
can, yeah, but they'd have to dry clean it.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, she used
So-
acrylic, but why do that?
But you could use cotton floss, and then just like a lot of your quilts, it could just be washed like anything.
Right, right, exactly. And the other thing I was thinking when we were looking at the panel here is the panel's like a perfect size for a pillow, front and back,
Yes,
if you wanted
definitely.
to as well. Right.
That's the more likely thing that I would do with something like that. But I have a lot of pillows, and I'm like, you know what? I like kind of am in need of a new fun arty bag. So
Mhm.
I have a couple of bags that need to go to convalesce, like that I've been carrying around for a long time, like some needlepoint ones. I love turning needle points into bags, but I have one that needs its strap replaced and all that. I was like, you know what? I need a fresh one. So I thought that would be super cute.
Yes.
Pretty much that is Harmony. So
Well,
what
thank
else
you
do you
for
want to know?
well, thank you for sharing all of that with us. I mean, I think it's great. Anna, I mean, I had a question. I'm going to check with Sarah to see if there's any questions here in a second. When it comes to the artwork, when Carolyn sends in the artwork, you had said that you, and I just want to make sure I understood you properly. She sends it in, and so it doesn't have a background. So you place the color in the background of her art. Is that what you're saying?
For the most part, like if you were, I want to pull up, like if you were to pull up her account on Instagram, she is Carolyn J, I believe is her account. Yeah, it's just CarolynJ. If you were to pull up her account on Instagram, you would see, well, you'd see naked ladies. She's been doing lots of figure paintings the past few days. So there's naked ladies, always fun. Who doesn't like
Right.
that? And a lot of her paintings, are on white backgrounds. And so you can kind of see, she even has, I don't know how well this will come across. This is like some
Oh,
butterfly.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an original piece of art that she has,
Mhm.
so by and
Right.
large, that's kind of like where I'm starting. She has some work already that's in repeat form that I use, but changed the backgrounds and scales or took some elements out, added other ones in, or as I showed you, kind of reorganize how the forms work on the surface, whether they're in a stripe form, whether they're sitting across like diamonds, or whether it's a toss. So, but
Right.
yeah, that's my job, is to do the cut. And that's probably the most pervasively common thing I do across working with all the conservatory designers. That is sort of definitely relying heavily on what the artist's natural palette is and what they're inclined to, but also kind of like having 18 or so years of experience in the quilting world and kind of knowing like, oh, people really love robin's egg blue, so whether or not I see robin's egg blue in her palette, I'm gonna pull a shade that I think speaks to who she is as an artist, even if you know what I mean. So it's just sort of this balance of like just putting it through the quilting world filter of like what we think works well. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
we
I mean, I just think it's interesting to know like how you would get the artwork and then, the work that you have to do to make it a cohesive collection for
yeah.
makers, because you've been sewing your whole life. So, you look at design and then say, oh, what can we do with this? And what do the colors need to be, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Yeah, and the scales become pretty important as well with quilting, of course. I'm
mhm,
always like wanting things to be this big,
mhm,
because like I love anything that makes a statement, like I love that attention grabbing, but you know, um, her forms lend themselves to be smaller and sweeter. So I really liked but she does these larger scale paintings. And so like, I really liked the opportunity to do a panel, because when I look at that panel and the scale of it, being so familiar with her work and watching her create, I feel like I'm looking at a canvas that she's made. And I really love that, So again, I just wanted to continue to be a conversation back to her, and like nothing's more gratifying than one of the conservatory artists being so thrilled with what, I've done. And so appreciative, and feel like, yes, that's exactly what I would have done, but I didn't do that. You know what I mean? Just like adding that other layer, but my hope is to not interrupt their voice at all, just to sort of like speak to quilting in it.
right. And you designed this quilt and,
Yeah.
it was great. It totally has your hand in it. I mean, I
Yeah.
love when, you turn it in a core collection and you turn in something for the conservatory and you've designed a quilt. I mean, you have such a distinct style with the quilts that you design, which I think is great. I mean, I know makers love what you do and all the different creativity. I mean, what you present to us, I think, is something that others just don't. And, it's always fresh and we love to see it. So, and I
It's
like how
fun
you, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's like, I've done my own for so long, it's a nice fresh opportunity for me to step out of my own a little bit to work with these conservatory designers, because the quilts that I designed for them and their collections are a little different than what I would do for
Mhm,
myself, like,
exactly. Yeah.
and that's where those scales are important. Like I started to say before and probably interrupted myself. But that's where those scales are important, because I'm like, oh, I really want a border for this quilt, or like, I'm already envisioning the panel in the center. Like, what am I going to do with the rest of these fabrics to support it?
Right. Right. No, it's great because you are a quilter and you can think of it as you're creating the collections. What am I going to do with this? So that's what's wonderful about all the work that you do. Anna, there was a question. Somebody would like to see the back of that quilt. Could you show the
Oh,
fabric on the
it's
back of
just
that?
this old piece of fabric.
Oh, just that old thing.
It's one of my backings. Sorry, I have this big, like, new studio chair that I'm kind of getting used to. It's like large and very Austin Powers and white
Yeah.
hair. It's so weird. But this is my delphinium backing.
Yes, it looks beautiful on the back of that quilt.
Yeah, it's fun because it's well, and again, remember what I said about scale difference and making a statement. This is
Mhm.
definitely like a statement quilt backing. So that's what we have for the back. But I think her panel would be equally amazing on the back of that as well.
Yeah.
I think that, like, not just the colors of this set everything off really beautiful, but I think her panel would just be like a stunning. I even think that this scattered piece would be really beautiful because it's so deep and would really
Mhm.
set everything off beautifully. So
Mhm.
I love it. You might not get the quilt back.
Well, we'll have to send it back to you after it does its travels around to quilt shops and,
Yeah, I
its
absolutely love it. I didn't make this one.
journeys.
Do you remember, Sharon, who made this one for us? I know that you helped organize the sewing of it, but
Betsy Westover made that one.
she did a beautiful job.
Yeah, she did. She does a very nice job. She does a lot of our samples and she pieced it and quilted it. So
Perfect. And the quilting is so cute. It would be too hard for me to show you. If you go to my Instagram today, I posted photos of, like, I'm, just been in the studio for a couple of weeks, Sunday morning. I got all the rolls out to cut those small pieces to show you, and took some photos and posted them today. And I think people are really excited about the collection. Someone just like, as an abstract sort of display of how excited one person is, at least, they said, there's lots of beautiful comments about welcoming Carolyn's fabric, but one person in particular, like right before I got on with you, I had such a giggle because it said, I love these fabrics so much. It brought me to tears. And then something about like, would you adopt me?
Oh.
And I told her that my family's pretty big already, but I'm happy to be remote quilt mom. So
Right, exactly.
I would love for you guys to go see, because oftentimes in these lives we get to give all the information, but it is sometimes a challenge to see things very well, like in terms of the color and the, you know,
Exactly.
these screens are what they are when we're doing lives, aren't they? So, but the quilting that Betsy did is absolutely beautiful. It has this really cute little petaled floral all over it. And you can see that really well in the photographs that I took and posted this morning.
Oh, good. I'll have to go look at them. I didn't look, I'm sorry to say, before we got on, but
Well, I did it like 5 seconds before we got
Oh,
on.
okay. So I was doing something getting ready.
Yes.
All right. So Anna, we do have to do, let me just do this. I think everyone can see both of us now. So Anna has the Harmony quilt behind her. I have another Harmony quilt behind me. The pattern will be on our website in August of 2023. This collection ships in September of this year. So I'd like to remind anyone that's watching today, if you're a retailer and you have not ordered this collection yet, I would strongly advise you to get in touch with your sales rep and place an order. If you are a maker who has just watched this presentation and you love this fabric, I would strongly advise you to get in touch with your local quilt shop and let them know that you want them to order this collection. The deadline to, well, we'll be placing our mill orders soon. So again, a retailer, you're going to have to act fast.
Act fast. Good advice.
Fast. Order this collection soon, because you're going to need to place your order to get your order. Again, delivery in September of this year. The quilt pattern will be up on our website at freespiritfabrics.com in August of 2023. And we do have a giveaway, Anna.
Yay! I love a giveaway.
So if you are live with us today, and if you've sent lots of hearts, lots of hearts, we would like to know which design that Anna showed of Carolyn's collection was your favorite. And we will send half-yard cuts of the fabric, the whole collection, and we will send a full panel. So you can do what you want with the panel.
What you want. Hey, should I do something really quick and run through the names of those so they know what to call them?
Sure.
I'll just do a quickie.
All right, really quick.
Blue Magic Panel. Scattered and Scattered, right?
Yep.
Dappled. Jungle. Somewhere. 2 colors of Somewhere. Clever Climbers. Harlequin. And Bundles of Joy.
Yeah.
All of my bundles of joy are human, but this is fabric floral.
That's a runner-up. That's a runner-up.
I just realized, like, that's a baby. Why did I name it that?
Well, flowers are bundles of joy as well.
Oh, they both are. That's right. But those are the names.
All right. And also, Anna, I know that you mentioned earlier that you're going to be doing an Instagram live with Carolyn this Friday.
Yes, on my Instagram, because I have like Craft Salad, Anna Maria, and Conservatory Craft. I always like to be clear. Anna Maria Horner on that Instagram at the same time. So like 11 Eastern, 10 Central, which I'm on Central Time, but I'll be having a chat with Carolyn about her work. And this.
All right. Well, it's awesome. We'll tune in for that as well. So I think, do we have any other questions? Nope. Okay, no other questions. Tons of hearts are coming now because everybody wants the half-yard cuts. And I don't blame them. You know, it's a great giveaway. Well, Anna, thank you for joining us today. We always love to have you, and love to have you talk about the conservatory. In the future, we'll have to have you back on to talk about your collections.
Yes,
know that I, amongst many, many others, are admirers of not only your design work, but also, you know, like I already said, your quilts, I mean, your handwork, your clothing. You know, you're so multifaceted within the handcrafting world, and there are many that love and admire your work. And so we all thank you for that, because, you know, you inspire us, and that's why we're here.
Thanks for giving me a place to chat about it. And thanks for printing and shipping my fabric.
Oh, well, we love to do it, and we love that makers are loving it as well. So thank you again, and we will have you in the near future. And again, if you've been inspired by Anna today, get in touch with your quilt shop, let them know. And again, retailers, get in touch with your rep. So thank you, Anna, and
Thanks,
we
Sharon.
will enjoy seeing you in the future.
You will. Okay. Have a
All right,
good one.
thank you. Bye-bye.